Hi guys, welcome back to another episode of the Storytime Society. I'm your host Jamie and I'm so happy you're here. I'm so glad you're alive. Thank you for tuning in. The theme of this episode is relationship drama. Dun dun dun. Okay, let's get into it. With updates. I forgot to say that part. Okay, the title of the first story is, Am I the asshole for wanting a divorce after my husband gaslit me into believing him flirting with a coworker was okay because I was just hormonal? Hi Reddit, I'm a 30-year-old female married to my 34-year-old male for over 6 years. We have 2 beautiful children, a 3-year-old and an 8-month-old. We've been together for over 10 years, and our relationship has been amazing from the beginning. About a year ago, I was approximately 6 months pregnant. I noticed my husband paying more attention to his phone whenever he came home from work. So, one night during dinner when his phone kept dinging, I asked him about it. I asked, "Who has your attention lately?" It was a female coworker who had just transferred to his department, along with a good colleague of his in this group chat. I had never heard of this female coworker, so I tried to play it off as my husband being nice to a new colleague. Days went by, and that phone became the bane of my existence. It constantly dinged, and I was fighting for his attention whenever he got home from work. I had enough. So one night, while he was showering, I went through his phone, and there it was, the group chat, along with Instagram messages of just my husband and his female coworker teasing each other about work. I confronted my husband immediately and confessed that I had indeed gone through his phone. I was certainly embarrassed, as this was a first for me, but I explained that I had a hunch something wasn't quite right and I needed to see it for myself. I pointed out that the group chat was quite unusual, but the private chats on Instagram were highly inappropriate for a married man. I simply requested that he refrain from having private chats with her, but I was comfortable with the group chat. He agreed and apologized for making me feel that way. A few months later, I'm approximately 8 months pregnant. As we were returning home from a summer vacation, my son's iPad began dinging repeatedly in the backseat of my car. Unbeknownst to me, my husband had inadvertently connected his iCloud to our son's iPad. Suddenly, there she was, repeatedly appearing on the iPad, sending text after text, and this time, there were even pictures. I was at my wit's end. I confronted my husband with such rage, anger, and distrust. His reasoning was, quote, "You're just feeling hormonal right now. This isn't you. You're not the jealous, insecure type. Once you're no longer pregnant, you should get to know her. Have a drink with her, and you'll like her." Using my hormones and emotions against me at 8 months pregnant, I unfortunately caved and believed him and left it at that. Shortly after welcoming our newborn baby and adjusting to our new family of 4, we experienced pure bliss. However, our blissful state was short-lived as paternity leave ended and my husband returned to work along with my husband's female coworker. One evening, after we had tucked the children into bed, I found myself browsing through my husband's phone, admiring pictures of our children. Ding! It's her. I instantly and without hesitation opened the conversation and my mouth dropped. It was a conversation where my husband was begging her to work a specialized assignment with just him, the 2 of them, alone in a car 5 days a week. I felt an instant wave of regret. Regret for not listening to my gut months ago and letting him gaslight me into thinking the situation was all in my head because of my hormones. Now, I want a divorce, but my husband is now begging me to not ruin our family. So Reddit, am I the asshole for breaking apart this family? Dude, why is that such a common occurrence for them to be like, please, I cheated and I fucked up, but don't ruin our family. Who is ruining the family here? Who is, like, why is that always the go-to thing? Like, you're going to ruin our family? Really? No, you ruined the family already. Like, that's a done deal. You already did all that by yourself. What do you mean? The way that I would actually, no, I would go ballistic. That's rebarbative. And you never trust a man that uses your hormones against you or like your period against you or, well, I guess that's kind of the same thing. But it's like, if you're like mad about something and your boyfriend is like, are you going to start your, like in a mean way? Are you going to start your period or something? Like, or are you on your period or something? If you don't shut the fuck up right now, like, boy, you're going to see my fist on your face pretty soon. Okay, just kidding. I don't support domestic violence, obviously. Okay, update. Editor's note next day. After reading all these comments and absorbing the advice, I finally realized that I'm not hormonal and not the sole reason behind this marriage's failure. So thank you for validating my feelings all along. As for my husband, I've asked him to leave the house until I've made a decision. Initially, he didn't believe me, but when I took the kids and told him he better not be here when I return with them, he was besides himself. He completely lost it. He's begged me to reconsider, offering to block her, leaving his job, and doing anything else to keep us together. But a few months ago, I politely asked you to stop texting her privately. His response was, quote, "I thought I was just being her friend and I didn't see it the way that you did." What upsets me is that he didn't take me seriously back then, but now that I'm packing up our kids and leaving, he suddenly takes me seriously. We'll see what happens when I get home. To be continued. Of course, because that's always what happens. It's like they're never gonna, if you have a good guy, obviously that's not gonna happen in the first place, but they're never gonna take you seriously. Like they're gonna be like, okay, sure. And then they're going to keep continuing their actions, and then they're going to freak out and throw a little pissy fit when you actually decide to stand up for yourself and end the relationship. And by that point, you're so over it already that it's like, no, there's nothing you can do now. I've been processing this for months now because I've already talked to you about it. And now I'm at my wit's end, and I'm at the point where it's like, I don't even want to try anymore because I gave you a chance already and you blew it. So what the fuck am I going to do? Giving you a chance again? Like, no. Update number 2, same day, hours later. I returned home from an evening out with my kids, grateful that my husband respected my wishes and wasn't home when we arrived. After putting the kids to bed, I received a text from my husband asking if he could come over and talk so we could resolve our issues without involving the kids. I agreed. As soon as I opened the door, he handed me his phone. On the other line, I heard the female coworker. She was saying, "Hello? Hello?" I immediately hung up his phone and demanded to know why he wanted me to talk to her. He claimed they had been discussing all night about how they could convince me that they were nothing more than just good coworkers. I reminded him that this marriage is between the two of us and not 3, and that the only person who needed to address this mess was himself. He insisted that I speak with her and even had the audacity to suggest getting that drink I told you to get with her a few months back when you were no longer pregnant and crazy. I told him, get out and have that drink for me because we're done. It took considerable effort to get him to leave, as he sobbed about leaving his children, but I didn't care. He clearly still wants to gaslight me into believing that this is my issue with her, not his issue with disrespecting our marriage and his crazy hormonal wife.
If you want extra content weekly, head over to patreon.com/Storytime Society and become a member on there for extra content. Love you.
Tea, sis. Tea, sister, because that's insane for him to double down on that. And then why are you talking for hours about our marriage with the person that you are losing your marriage over and your family over? Like, what? Make it make fucking sense, please. The relevant comments says, has OOP met her husband's coworker? And OOP said, I've actually met her before at a work gathering for my husband. He introduced me to everyone at this party except her. When I finally saw a picture of this female coworker, I knew I had seen her before and asked where I had seen her before. He did say at the work party, and when I asked how come you didn't introduce me to her, he replied, you were busy getting to know everyone else. Oh, yeah, so there's a reason for that. There's definitely a fucking reason for that. All right, there's an update 4 months later, June 24th, 2025. Hi Reddit fam, it's been almost 5 months since I've updated all of you on my original post. I haven't forgotten about you all, and I've been thinking of updating you so many times. I was just waiting for the perfect time, and I feel like now is the perfect time to update you all. We are divorcing, finally. Originally, we took some time apart to cool off, dig deep, and think about what we really wanted, while not letting any of this affect our children, to the best of our ability. We did couples therapy, individual therapy, and even a vacation away, just the two of us. Everything just felt like it was falling back into place, like before any of this was even a thing. I was starting to come to terms with the emotional affair and the gaslighting until, well, I'm sure you guessed it, the female coworker came back. Not that I think she ever left in the first place. I was so close to trusting him again, but for shits and giggles, I went through his phone one last time. And by God, wouldn't you believe I found a picture of my husband in his female coworker's car, running errands for her. I didn't need an explanation. I didn't even read the context of how and why he was there. I simply laughed. We put the kids to bed and I said, do I need to make you an errand list in order to get your full attention? He automatically knew exactly what I was referring to. I told him to get out and maybe call into work the next day because he should spend the day looking for a divorce lawyer. And really, that was simply it. We're currently in the divorce process and it's going as smooth as you can imagine, getting all his legal advice from coworkers. LOL. Again, I just wanted to say thank you all for the love and support. My hormonal self thanks you from the bottom of my heart. Literally fart on my noggin. Please, for the love of God. Like, that's, I mean, I'm honestly glad that she gave it another shot. Not really, but like tried to like work through it and then figured, let's, make sure this is really the end of it, because that really just puts the nail in the coffin. And I feel like that's the best way to go about it, because then like for sure, I mean, as if it wasn't enough that he was already having an emotional affair and like she already saw that previously, but sometimes it takes just like a couple more times to really be like solidified in your decision. And as long as that helps you come to a final decision and feel comfort and peace with that decision, it doesn't really matter. Like, I would much rather feel extremely confident that I made the right decision than like maybe questioning things and questioning if I did the right thing. Oh, Lord. Okay. Girl, this person said, girl, I knew it. I'm so proud of you for not falling for his bullshit. You gave him every chance and he spit in your face, trying to convince you they were just friends. I'm curious, but did he run to her? OOP said, I can only imagine if they weren't having relations before, they are now. However, it wouldn't look good in court to be in a relationship with the woman you were having an affair with while claiming you weren't. Automatically untrustworthy liar. The top comment says, my God, she should have left him the first time. This idiot got one too many chances. See, I just highly, like, I honestly, I don't know why I just said but I do honestly believe that, like, it's fine to give chances until you truly have made the right decision, as long as that decision is, like, made within a timely manner, I guess, because you don't want to give someone, like, another few years of your time after that. But this guy, he didn't need any more years. He just needed a couple months to screw it all up again. Okay, the title of the next story is, am I the asshole for not wanting my boyfriend to come over anymore because he's too much of a clean freak? So I lied to my boyfriend and told him I'll be out of town this weekend just so he wouldn't come over. I feel bad, but I honestly needed a break. I'm starting to get really fed up with how obsessive he is about cleanliness. For context, I have 2 cats. I vacuum 2 to 3 times a day just to keep the fur under control, and I try my best to keep things clean. But you know how it is. Sometimes fur still floats around or lands in spots that you miss. The issue is he'll notice a single strand of cat fur and act like it's the end of the world. There were times he literally woke me up in the middle of the night to complain about one piece of fur floating in the air. I'd say I'll vacuum in the morning, but he keeps poking me until I get up and do it right then and there. He also hates when my cats go into the room, so whenever he visits, I have to keep them out, which feels unfair because it's their home too. He wears black all the time despite me suggesting not to, so obviously fur sticks to him more, and then he complains right in front of me like it's my fault. Out of frustration, I canceled our weekend plans so I could have some peace and quiet. He's been staying over every weekend lately, and honestly, I don't feel at ease in my own space anymore. I don't know. I feel kind of shallow and petty, and maybe I'm being unreasonable. Am I the asshole here for needing space and not wanting him around because of this? I could never be with someone that didn't accept my cats. I'm sorry. If you don't accept my cats, like, my cats and I are a package deal, so yeah, it's either you go elsewhere and we are not together, or you end up figuring out how you can accept the cats, because I'm not making my cats not be allowed to go in my room. Like, that's ridiculous. This is just as much their house as it is mine. And why am I gonna, I mean, yeah, if there's like there's one closet in my house that I don't let them go into because there's so much fucking shit in there in storage, and it's like also some nice stuff that I don't want them touching, but like that's it. That's it. The only reason I would ever close anything off is for like safety purposes, if there was something unsafe that I didn't want them to be near. But I'm not gonna be like, no, you're not allowed in my room. That's ridiculous. And then also, he can actually fuck off. Why doesn't he just vacuum? Why do you have to? If he cares so much and you're already vacuuming multiple times a day, how about he gets his lazy ass up and he vacuums? If it bothers him so much that he wakes up in the middle of the night because of one piece of fur, like, oh, no. No, because I'd let my cats drive my car. I would let my cats, like, perform open heart surgery on me, like brain surgery. Sorry, I love my cats, and it might be to an unhealthy extent, but I'm gonna choose my cats over you. That's like a moral thing for me. I don't know if I'm being so ridiculous about this, but it is like a moral thing for me. Like, I love animals so much that if you act like you're disgusted by animals, there's no way we can work, because I just feel like animals are such a big part of my life. Like, I'm constantly thinking about animals. I go to the shelter like almost once every weekend just to like hang out, see the dogs, pet the cats, and go in and like interact with them. And obviously I have 3 cats myself. If I see animals outside, like I'm literally, this morning there was a bird flying like kind of low to the ground, and I was like stopping for it in the middle of the road, which, yeah, maybe it can become a safety hazard at points, but like I never want to hit an animal in my life, because I will actually freak out. I will flip out, and I wouldn't be able to get through it. So that's just like a big part of my life that I don't. And I also really want to have farm animals. Like, when I have enough money to buy a house, you better believe I'm getting a cottage with land. I'm going to have ducks. I'm going to have goats. I'm going to have cows, but like not for farming, like for animals, just to like for fun, just because that's like been my dream all my life. I love animals, and I want to wake up in the morning and go outside and just like take care of my animals. So sorry, but that's going to be a no for me. This person says, the top comment says, cats have fur. You're going to get cat fur on you if you come over. Stop your incessant whining and deal with it, or if you can't, don't come over anymore. Your choice. And then this person said, not the asshole, but I think this is a part of a bigger problem. He clearly has a problem with cats, and you have too. Seriously, think about it if you have a future. Exactly. Like, it's really... I'm choosing my cats over you every time. I'm sorry. Like, all of a sudden, if my boyfriend was like, I hate cats and I want to get rid of our cats, I'd be like, okay, well, I'm getting rid of you. Sorry. I love you. Like, I love you so much, but no, that's just not going to happen. The update says, hello, I just wanted to share an update because things took a turn I honestly didn't see coming. So after I lied and told him I'd be out of town, he got suspicious and showed up at my place on Saturday. I wasn't expecting him, though. I was literally in my pajamas, curled up on the couch with my cats, enjoying a peaceful day. He knocked, and before I could even process what was happening, he was inside complaining about all the fur everywhere. I asked him to leave, but he kept ranting about how disgusting it was. Then my oldest cat, who's super friendly but sheds a lot, jumped up on the couch next to him. He freaked out, stood up, and shoved my cat off the couch. My poor cat hit the floor and ran under the bed. He's okay now. I completely lost it. That was the final straw. I told him to get out and that we were done for good. He tried to apologize and say that it was just an accident, but I didn't care. If you can't respect my cats, you can't be in my life. I honestly feel so much relief now. I can breathe again in my own home without feeling like I live in a museum. My cats are back to lounging wherever they please, as they should. So yeah, I guess I have my answer now. Thanks for letting me vent here, and thanks for those who commented on my last post. So much appreciated. Slay queen. The minute you're ever like abusive towards an animal, I'm sorry, you're not pushing my cat off anywhere. I will actually flip out on you if you do that. The only reason you should be touching my cats is to pet them and give them chin scratches. The top comment said, I said this to you in your last post too. You're going to be so happy with your next boyfriend, all cuddling together with your cats. I'm glad you took the trash out. Obviously not the asshole. OP said, "Aw, thank you. Honestly, I'm already happier just having my cats back on the couch with me. Next time I'm picking someone who brings treats for them and not complaints." Exactly. Like, my boyfriend is literally allergic. He's so severely allergic, but he takes medicine. He has like the spray medicine that he takes in the morning and at night. We, that's just life. That's just what you have to do to make it work and to get to experience the best parts of life, which is literal just animals. Like they make life so much better. This person said, I'm allergic to cats and have dated girls with cats. I would never imagine doing what he was. I took Claritin, and if the smell was bothering me or something, I would clean the litter box. It never crossed my mind to ask her to keep them locked up. Hell, those damn cats loved me and I loved them. You'll find someone who is willing to make small personal sacrifices to help make you and your cats happier. No, exactly. That's exactly my point. Like, you get up and do, if it's bothering you, you get up and do it. If you want to keep the house spotless, honestly, be my guest. Like, I would love that, but don't be bothering me and nagging me and badgering me about that constantly if you're not going to do anything about it. Okay, we're moving on to the next story, and the title is, Am I the asshole for telling my boyfriend I'll break up with him if he doesn't start wiping his butt? Interesting. The original post was June 13th, 2025. I, 26 female, have been dating my boyfriend, 27 male, for almost a year. We moved in together 3 months ago, and for the most part, things have been fine. He's funny, smart, we have good chemistry, and we share similar goals for the future. That said, there's been a problem. A really gross, ridiculous problem. When we first moved in, I noticed that he never had toilet paper rolls in his bathroom. We have a 2-bathroom setup and tend to use separate ones most of the time. I figured maybe he used wipes or something else, but then I started noticing smells, like awful smells. Sometimes his laundry would stink in a very specific way. I thought maybe it was just bad hygiene in general, so I brought it up. He got really defensive and basically told me to drop it. Eventually, after too many suspiciously stained boxers and just a level of funk no grown man should be walking around with, I asked him point blank, "Do you wipe after you poop?" He shrugged and said, "Nah, wiping is kinda gay. Why would I touch my own ass?" This has to be a joke, right? I thought he was joking. I laughed. He didn't. Turns out he legitimately believes that wiping makes you gay and that real men just let it fall out and go about their day. I told him that's not only stupid, but also incredibly unhygienic, and honestly, it's making me feel physically sick to be near him sometimes. He said I was being judgmental and that I should accept him for who he is. I told him I draw the line at poop. I said if he doesn't start wiping and taking basic hygiene seriously, I'd have to reconsider the relationship. He's now sulking and accusing me of being shallow, saying I'm prioritizing societal expectations over true love. He even texted me a link to men's rights subreddit post about how wiping is emasculating. Now I'm wondering, am I the asshole for threatening to break up with my boyfriend over something as small as wiping? Girl, break up with that man. Let that man go. Let that man and his stinky, poopy asshole go far, far away from you so you can't smell that damn stench anymore, because that's the craziest thing in the world. And the moment someone ever says that's gay, like that makes me gay to do, is an absolute no for me. An absolute no. I cannot deal with the guys who are like everything. Oh, I actually can't deal with it. I can't deal with guys who are like uncomfortable to like hang out with gay men because that makes them feel gay. Or, you know what I mean? Like those type of men that are just like so afraid that something will make them look gay. It's like, are you sure you're not gay? Because if you're so scared of being gay, you might actually be gay. Most people that are confident in their sexuality, like the way that they feel about being straight, usually aren't scared that people are going to think they're gay. I mean, I know it's not like a common thing for girls. Definitely, like, I don't give a damn if someone would even think I was gay. Okay, go ahead. Go ahead. Maybe I am. No, I can't. I can't. I hate toxic masculinity. I mean, to be honest, I hate masculinity in general. Like, I don't fuck with masculinity, really, to be honest. And I've come to realize that. I don't know. I just don't like masculinity because I've found that most of it, 99% of the time, ends up being toxic masculinity. And people that are like, I'm an alpha male. They're always the betas. They're always the betas. And then the people that are like considered betas are, to me, in my eyes, the alphas. Like, I think, I'm not trying to like put down my boyfriend at all, but I feel like people would probably consider him a beta because he's like just very gentle. He's like a gentle guy. He doesn't care about anything like that, like looking gay, or he's never insecure about anything like that. I view him as like what an alpha male actually would be. Does that make sense? Because like the definition of an alpha male isn't like fucking annoying ass man that is toxic masculinity and just thinks that everything, if you do anything even slightly feminine, then you're gay. And how is wiping your ass feminine? How is wiping your ass feminine? How is touching your own ass making you gay? So do you masturbate, or does that make you gay too? Because why would you touch your own penis if you're not gay? Right? All right, the top comment, or the relevant comments, not the asshole. You should absolutely break up with him. Not only does he sound homophobic and like those macho men, but he's a grown ass man with no hygiene and no proper excuse, like mental health for it. Think about what would happen if you two were to have kids or something. You'd have a whole family not wiping their ass. It's disgusting. And OP said exactly. That's what really hit me. Like, if this is how he is now, what happens down the line? I'm not trying to raise kids in a house where basic hygiene is optional because it's not manly. It's not just gross, it's irresponsible. And yeah, the homophobia baked into it is a huge red flag too. I can't build a future with someone who equates cleanliness with weakness. No, seriously. Not him being, oh my God, yeah, not him being 27 and never wiping his ass. Like, he probably has, he has to have some infections there, no? And also, how are you doing anything sexual with him? Is it like immediately after you're showering, I hope? Because after a long day, no, I'm going to throw up. Sorry. Okay, update. June 24th, 2025. Hey again, I wanted to give an update because, well, it happened. I broke up with him, and it was somehow even messier than I expected. No pun intended. I sat him down and told him I couldn't do this anymore. I explained everything calmly, that it wasn't just about wiping, but about respect. For me, for himself, and for any space we shared. That I was exhausted from living in constant secondhand filth. That I genuinely couldn't picture a future with someone who refused to do the most basic thing to stay clean. He stared at me in silence for a few seconds and then laughed. Like this weird fake laugh. Then he got super defensive and said, "Wow, so I guess you never actually cared about me. This is what ends us, over wiping?" I told him it wasn't just that. It was the fact that I asked him repeatedly to do something extremely reasonable and he chose not to. Over and over. He folded his arms and said, quote, "I'm not changing who I am just to make you comfortable." I said, "I'm not asking you to change your personality. I'm asking you to not smell like shit." That's when it got dramatic. He stood up, threw his keys on the couch and said, "You're just like everyone else, judgmental and shallow." Then he packed a duffel bag like he was storming out of a movie, grabbing random stuff like a pair of mismatched socks, 2 deodorants, the irony, and a frozen burrito from the freezer. Before he left, he looked at me and said, "You'll regret this. You'll never find another guy like me." And I just said, "That's kind of the point." He slammed the door so hard a picture fell off the wall. He's texted me a few times since, mostly passive-aggressive stuff like, "Hope your next guy wipes and lies to you about it," and "Real men don't fold for toilet paper." I haven't responded. Since he left, I've deep cleaned the apartment, burned a candle, and done 5 loads of laundry. I cannot tell you how amazing it feels to sit on a couch and not wonder if it's been in contact with poop. Anyway, thank you all for the push I needed. You were right. I don't need to fix someone who thinks basic hygiene is optional. I need someone who's already a damn adult. Lord have mercy. I'm like so concerned. I'm so concerned. The top comment says, "How did she date him for 9 months and not realize he didn't wipe his ass? How did she live with a shitty ass for 3 months?" And then someone said, "I just skipped straight to the comments. I feel confident I don't need to know the finer details." Isabel said, "Probably the same way moving out consisted of him throwing a frozen burrito into a bag, storming out, and then she never heard from him again except for a few texts she didn't respond to. Because never mind all his stuff still being there in the rental agreement, which may be in both of their names, and now she's going to afford the place on her own. And where is he going to live now?" Honestly, he can live wherever he wants, this poopy guy. It's so sad that I opened the link thinking it was a repost of one of the other dudes like this, but no, it's a new one. What an awful moment for us as a species. No, I'm actually so concerned for them. Okay, that's the end of the storytime segment. We're going to move on to the advice segment. If you ever want unprofessional advice from me, there is a Google form in the link in the description. And if you could just fill it out and leave as much detail as possible, that would be great. Or if you want to call and leave me a voicemail, 561-264-7017. You can call that number and leave a voicemail. I'll say it again, 561-264-7017. Just leave me as much detail as possible. And also, if you ever feel like leaving me a voicemail but you don't want your voice to be in it, just let me know. I can use a voice distortion thing and do that so that people can't like hear that it's your voice. Okay. Trigger warning, this segment contains content about abortion. Anyway, this says, I think I'm pregnant, but the test came up negative. Me and my boyfriend have the safest possible sex. We use condoms, contraception, the whole shebang. But my period didn't come, so we waited. My period came and passed. Then I tried a pregnancy test and it became negative. But morning sickness hit me. Then bloating, then things smelling horrible that didn't smell bad before. Back pain, exhaustion, etc. I feel like I'm pregnant, but every test I take is negative. I can't tell my parents because they're pro-life and will uproot my life to have a baby. My boyfriend can't tell his for the exact same reason. I'm 20 and I'm scared. I've never felt so helpless in my life or felt like the weight of the world has come crashing down on me. I don't want a kid. I want an abortion. But how does that process even begin? What do I got to do? Any advice or just kind words would mean a lot. Just for a second, obviously, like, yes, there is a possibility you could be pregnant. Of course, it's always a possibility when you're sexually active, but there are also other things that can mimic pregnancy symptoms that you could be experiencing that also have to do with missing periods and things like that, like PCOS, thyroid issues. I would say, I'm not sure where you're located, but Planned Parenthood would be a great place to start. Or if you can look up any community like clinics near you, make sure that you are like looking into the clinics though, because I know there are some that will be like hidden as kind of pro-life centers, which you don't want to get involved in at all, because those are like, they pretend to be abortion clinics and then you get there and they aren't abortion clinics and they try to like convince you to keep the baby, and that's just a traumatic experience in itself. But of course you have options. Don't tell your parents. You do not want them to be forcing you into something that you don't want, and that is totally okay to not want a pregnancy. So I would say start with trying to find a community clinic or a Planned Parenthood and getting a test there, because obviously you can get like a blood test and they can figure out if you're really pregnant or not. And then you definitely want to know, like, if you aren't pregnant, you could possibly have other health issues. And I'm not trying to scare you or anything, but it could be, PCOS or thyroid issues or anything of the sort. The hard thing is obviously the laws that have changed with Roe v. Wade recently. I mean, within the past few years, and different states have different restrictions with abortion. Obviously, we know like Georgia is not at all a safe space for, it's honestly scary what happens there, but since you're not a minor, you're 20 years old, you can make the decision yourself. You don't need to tell anyone. I would also recommend to figure out what it possibly could be, because if it is pregnancy, you definitely want to catch it in the earliest way possible so that you have more options. And I know that there are like, my friend had an abortion like 10 years ago and she just took the pill, and it was just one pill, and you basically just get the pill and then you go home, and the next day you kind of like experience the abortion. And then there's obviously the other type of abortion. I don't even know if you're in the US either, so this could be all pretty irrelevant information, but I'm sure if you're in another country it's probably a lot different, and maybe it's better or worse. I definitely think the biggest thing you need to figure out is if you're pregnant in the first place, because that's the most important thing. If you have any like health problems is also obviously an important thing to figure out if you're not pregnant. You have options, so I know that it can be scary, and I've had like pregnancy scares before. I've never actually ended up being pregnant, but I've like had missed periods where I've had to take pregnancy tests before, and I'm like scared out of my fucking mind because I can understand how scary it is to think that you might be pregnant when you're not ready for a baby or anything of the sort. Like, it's truly a scary feeling, but I'm glad you have your boyfriend and you can lean on him for support and emotional support. But just know that you have options and you're not alone. And I hope that you can get it figured out. And yeah, I love you. If you're someone going through something similar, just know you're not alone and there are people out there who care and want to help. I love you, and I'm so happy you're here. That is all the advice questions we're going to do today. I don't know if anyone else has been watching Love Island, but I've obviously given some updates on here about like my feelings about the whole everything that's going on with Love Island. I love Love Island. And I'm also watching UK, and I'm watching because I missed last year's season of Love Island Australia. So I'm literally Love Island out right now. Once I get into a show, I get so into it. It's crazy. And I'll get like so obsessed with every single aspect. Like when I first got obsessed with Love Island, I think it was like, I don't even know, 2018, 2019. And I started watching that season, whatever season was going on at that time. And then I went back and watched every single season ever. And then I think that is around the time that the first season of Love Island USA came out. And I watched that as it was coming out. And I was just like so utterly obsessed with it. And I really wanted to be on it. And honestly, like, I'd be so scared, though. I can't believe these people are stone cold sober doing these challenges. Like, the way I'd be fucking shaking like a leaf and be so scared to do any of that shit in front of people. First of all, I'm not a sexy person. Like, I think I just don't have the ability to be sexy. I'm not like a sexual person either. So I'm not really like in tune with that side of myself. And I don't really care to be totally honest with you. So like me shaking ass in front of everyone and trying to be like, like a little like stripper would never work. Like I fear I would have to take the funny route. Like I don't want to be sexy. I think it's so cringe and I'd be so embarrassed. And that's like what the whole like Megan Thee Stallion thing, when they were doing like the twerk challenge and all the boys could just be hilarious and funny and the girls were like expected to be sexy. That really made me so annoyed because I was like, I want to have the option to be like funny, but I feel like no one would think it was funny because they were just expecting all the girls to be sexy and like twerk their assholes off. But last night was like the fallout after the heart rate challenge, and the night before, Sunday night, I'm filming this on Tuesday, and Sunday night was the heart rate challenge. And I have so many mixed feelings about this whole season as a whole. I really, really, really loved Shelly. She was like my favorite in the beginning. And then I don't know, she's just been coming off as like not really genuine. And it's just been kind of bothering me. I do think Huda, like, probably it's really easy to get frustrated with her because it seems like she's a very male-centered individual, and I can understand how tough that. I had a friend that was exactly like her. I'm pretty sure I've said this before when I've talked about it, but I had a friend that was so similar to her. So I feel like I just take it a lot more personally, and I can truly like step into their shoes and see why it would be frustrating, because being friends with someone that is so extremely male-centered like that and kind of doesn't think about anyone else other than themselves and the men and how they can like get their attention and do the most is extremely tiring and frustrating, especially when it's constantly the men that you're interested in. It can just become so much, and like I understand being irritated with that, but I also am just like kind of irritated with Shelly as a whole, and the fact that she's not mad at Ace for that is really annoying to me. Like Ace is the biggest problem here. He was also enjoying it, so like why aren't you mad at both of them? And yeah, I don't know. I love Chris right now though. I'm like I love him so much. The way that he's just so emotionally mature, he's being so kind to Huda, is making me really happy. I don't hate Huda either. I do think like her actions in the beginning of the season, the first few weeks were just like rebarbative, but I kind of am starting to like her a little bit more. I think seeing a little less of her and also seeing that she's being a little less toxic. I'm like, last night was her and Chris was like, I'm taking a step back from Shelly and I'm like really into you. And that made me really happy. But I'm like, I literally said out loud to my boyfriend, I'm like, please don't start being toxic though. Please don't be so toxic, because like I need you to, get a grip. And maybe Chris will be good for her because he's more like emotionally level, and like immediately he was like, I always attract. And he wasn't saying that she was like emotionally unstable, but he was saying, I always attract emotionally unstable women. And then she was like, am I emotionally unstable? And I was like, not to be mean, but yeah, girl, I'm sorry. You kind of are. But like everyone can grow and everyone can change, and it's okay, and you can get better, but it's going to take a little bit of work, self-work. And also to be like understanding and aware that you actually are a little bit emotionally unstable is the first step. So I think she's got to get to that first step first before anything else. But yeah, we'll see what happens tonight on Tuesday's episode. And then I don't know. I'm excited to see. I don't even know really, like I can't even imagine who's my favorite character is Amaya. Like also someone commented on one of my videos on Spotify the other week and saying that I remind them of Amaya because I'm like I think they said whimsical and my empathy, and I was like, that is the biggest compliment I've ever actually received in my life, because I can't even tell you how much I've been obsessing over that girl. To my boyfriend, I've been like, she's literally, I laugh at everything she fucking says. She's hilarious. She's so like herself. She's so genuine. I've never seen a more genuine person, and I'm like, that's what I literally strive to be. Like I could only wish that I was that myself in front of everyone and not give a fuck what other people think. Because sometimes like I can find myself kind of coming into like around certain people, I kind of am like in a little bit of a shell, because if I'm myself, that means a whole different thing. Like myself is a little bit out there, she a little bit crazy, she kind of says some weird stuff, she says some funky stuff sometimes, and yeah, but yeah, that's all I have to say really. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. If you haven't already, please press the subscribe button, the like button, and comment. Leave a comment. Let me know wherever you are on Spotify, Apple, whatever, YouTube. Leave a comment and let me know what you thought about this episode. And yeah, okay. I'll talk to you in the next episode. Bye. Love you. Love you guys. Thanks for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe.